Thank you so much for subscribing to my newsletter at The Podcast Guy. I know I have been much remiss of late in sending you updates and news from everything that's going on around the podcasting world, and I am conscious that I need to be giving you much more than you're already getting. So a lot more about that towards the end of this brief chat. A video newsletter, if you will, which is a little bit surreal since it's not very much of a letter. But if you can forgive me that, then we're going to rock. So what's been happening of late? Well, you've probably been seeing some updates over at thepodcastguy.com about various different ways that I've found to optimize your podcast and stuff about how to actually start your project. Now, I've been working with Annabelle Candy from successfulblogging.com to kickstart her blog. Or should I say podcast? If I tried to help her start a blog at this point, there'd be something seriously amiss. And we've been working on that, and there's a great post going out on the 14th, which is the 14th of November. So go over to successfulblogging.com around then, and she's calling it the ultimate guide to podcasting for bloggers. So if you're a blogger or you're a brand and you want a kick start, then that is a great place to begin. Recommend you get over to there, and obviously there's going to lots about podcasting coming up at the Podcast Guy as well, what you kind of expect, and that's what you signed up for, right? So recently, what's been going on? Well, the Podcast Guy was always kind of a way to power your success in podcasting, and I've been working with the European Podcast Award as well, where we've been looking at lots and lots of podcasters' work, and there's some fantastic shows out there. People are really starting to seize the initiative and understand how important it is to talk to customers, audiences, any form of community using the power of radio. And it really is a compelling way to just interact and engage with people. And I'm sure you've realised that by now, and I'm hoping that in the very short term, you've got your eyes on either launching your own show or taking your show to the next level. So exciting stuff going on there. So the EPA finishes at the end of November. We've been running a podcast about the EPA. I think we're on episode 3 at the moment, and we'll be cranking out the 4th very shortly. So European-podcast-award.eu. You can still nominate your show if you're based in Europe, so get over there before November the 31st, which is the deadline for nominations and votes. So get over there, act quick, and I'd absolutely love to see your work over there, and hopefully you might even win. I'm not biased, I'm just an ambassador, but I know you're good. Okay, so aside from the European Podcast Award, I've been working really, really hard on Talknology, and there'll probably be a little clip from TEDx Liverpool coming up in a few seconds' time, where Dan Lyons, my cohort, my co-founder of the Talknology concept, basically launched it. Wasn't expecting it at all, and all of a sudden, to 350 people in Liverpool, Dan showed that we have this very exciting project coming up. Anyway, the brief excerpt is an interview with me at TEDx Liverpool, as I mentioned, and it's basically all about mobile. And I think mobile is a great place to focus all your efforts when you're podcasting. This is probably going to be, in the next 6 to 12 months, a place where everybody starts listening to podcasts and internet radio. So here's me talking a little bit about mobile over at TEDx Liverpool.
This is Tom Locks at the Calm. We're Ted for Calm.
Only Ted.
You've been upstairs. How has it been for you so far?
Well, I haven't been upstairs. I've not been allowed yet because that's where the posh people go. I'm down with the peasants in the box. But it's been a great event. I've really enjoyed it because mobile is, as we know, is where everything's going at the moment. You know, we've seen the rise and the fall of social. We've seen all the technologies come to the fore. I think the greatest thing about mobile is it's so accessible. You know, there's 5 billion people on the planet who are expected to have some form of smartphone in the next 3 or 4 years. Massive potential. And the apps are there and ready and waiting to be kind of unleashed on that unsuspecting public. So great times.
I think it was, I remember a few years ago, like especially when I was in school, if someone had like a mobile phone, they go, "Ooh, you've got a mobile phone," and now it's like, "Ooh, you've got a smartphone." But I think that the thinking now is, why don't you have a smartphone? I pulled out. I've got a terrible Nokia.
Don't be shy.
It's one of these really, really old ones, and I pulled it out earlier, and someone said, "Why don't you have a smartphone?" It's like, I'm sorry, I don't have a smartphone. You feel bad.
Yeah, you have to apologise for your lack of technology. You know, the interesting thing about mobile marketing that a lot of people are forgetting about is the rise of SMS. You know, I can still count on the fingers of a leopard's hand how many times I've seen a really good SMS marketing campaign come out. So while, you know, there's the latest Steve Jobs device and there's all these fantastic things, the Samsung Note that's just come out that's kind of like a hybrid between a tablet and a phone, literally out now in Germany. Fantastic stuff. There's all the real kind of latest tech. But let's not forget the ways that you can actually attract an audience these days. They don't necessarily have to worry about the coffee. I'm so passionate about this stuff, I don't even feel molten coffee on my hand. I'm that hard.
This is pain,
this
I
is
love
exciting. But yeah, in all seriousness, you know, the emerging markets like India and China, where SMS is really the latest and greatest, they're huge opportunities. So it doesn't have to be about spending the most money. It's all about getting engaged with your consumer.
Someone said when SMS was first out, it's a very nice idea, but it'll never catch on, which is fantastic.
It's like the abacus.
Brilliant, Dave. Thank you very much. I can't shake your hand. Elbows.
Krispy Kreme donut for me, all right.
I will do. If I had 3, I'll have another 8.
Krispy Kreme, Ted Liverpool. Can't beat it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
And back to the show. Well, there we go. So, Talknology, a web TV tech community run by 2 very regular guys. Certainly regular. Well, can be irregular, but as normal and as ugly as they come. Although Dan's quite good looking. So, you know, he's been on CNBC. He knows where to put the makeup. So we're going to be launching very soon. We are on YouTube Live. Very excited about that. So Google have let us in. So we're now going to be testing that out and hopefully a little bit of an after-show party after each episode where we'll be able to get to with you and just talk general stuff. Now, we haven't got the 3 programs ready to rock and roll yet, but I can tell you that one of them is going to be about tech commentary, so that's going to be quite nerdy. That's where we're going to try and make geek speak chic, so to speak. The second one is going to be about Apple Macs. Now, this is going to be interesting because I am a PC user and I've been very sceptical, as Dan has. In fact, Dan was the guy behind the fake Steve Jobs blog and is the tech editor over at Newsweek right now. So it's going to be a really interesting hour on YouTube where we just get down to the guts, the innards of everything that's happening Mac-wise, and this will be quite a take. Third one is a real free-for-all, so anything you want to know about tech, any things that you want to talk about, we'll be talking about stuff that's crossed our radars, and likewise, if there's any stuff that's going on in your world that you want to find out about, then we'll have the comments open, the chat box will be rampant with excitement, so we're looking forward to that. Loads of inspirational stuff coming on there. So that will be youtube.com/talknologytv. Lastly, just finished kind of the past few hours talking to Louis Liu, who is the founder of Spatial.com. Now, if you're in any way involved with internet radio, then you will be aware of Sam Broadcaster. Now, that's his baby, and it's an incredible product, and there's some really exciting times to come for Spatial and specifically Sam Broadcaster. So I wanted to really get a gist from him about internet broadcasting for you guys, just to find out a bit more about, you know, where are we going with all this? What are our major obstacles? And I was really fortified to hear some really good news from Louis about, you know, the benefits of being niche, because make no bones about it, you know, we are not there yet as far as the mainstream go, but we all have niches. We all want to connect with people in different ways. And so this is why I think this is a really exciting opportunity. Internet radio, podcasting, this is just such an incredible way to connect with people. And obviously at The Podcast Guy, I'm more than happy to share some ideas and inspiration with you on that. So we'll have more on that interview with Louis very, very soon. It's actually part of a book I'm writing, but more about that in a future video letter. Finally, about that little treat I was talking to you about. Well, as I said, I am very disappointed with myself for not pushing out some newsletters recently. As I say, I've been rather busy running around rampant like a rabbit on steroids, but that has no bones about it. I am genuinely sorry for not being around, because I want to make sure that you get your podcasting efforts off to a flying start. So with that in mind, as a newsletter recipient, listen, I want to do something for you here that's very, very special. And this is why this may well be on YouTube, but this is specific to my newsletter subscribers over at thepodcastguy.com. I want to offer you all the chance to take advantage of one of 5 one-hour sessions where we together can brainstorm your podcasts, talk about a show that you've got in mind, or how to refine stuff if you want to find out more about how to promote your show, or how to get the right guest on, or maybe just about equipment, hardware, anything at all that springs to mind, jump on one of these. Now, you get the newsletter, and inside of the newsletter that will have a link to this video, there's going to be a code. So drop me an email at dave@thepodcastguy.com, put the code in there, and just drop me a quick line saying, this is what I want to do, this is what I need help with, this is what I would like to talk to you about. And by the end of November, early Christmas present, I'll drop a quick line to the 5 people who've subscribed to the newsletter who've got in touch with me. Not the ones that haven't, because that would be very difficult and ridiculous. If you've got in touch with me, then I will hopefully select you, and we'll get that hour, grab a coffee together, jump on Skype, and have a talk about what it is about podcasting that you want to find out about. Okay, so I think that's about it. That is pretty much a newsletter worth of content, some updates there, and obviously stay in touch with me at thepodcastguy.com. Facebook.com/thepodcastguy, or Twitter at twitter.com/thepodcastguy. And yeah, great. It's been a wrap. I think this will be coming out to you around about the 10th of November 2011, although you might not receive it till later if you've gone to see Santa in Lapland to tee him up for a big present this year. You deserve it. Okay, so Dave Thackeray ringing out from thepodcastguy.com, and enjoy the weeks ahead. Don't forget, a couple of weeks' time, get your Christmas tree up. It's going to be a big one. Thanks a lot. Take it easy. Bye.